Well, all right. Welcome to the Dynasty Hot Sauce Podcast. I am Larry Monkey. It's FF Larry Monkey on Twitter. And joining me, as always, Run DFF, Justin Rogers. Woohoo!
Well, you know, we're a very friendly podcast with all of that. We're also very friendly with alcoholic beverages. And, you know, when you have someone who's truly welcome here, who's truly making a name in this industry, who's truly breaking out on Twitter and in the podcast universe out there. Who do we have today, Larry?
Oh, we have Linda, a.k.a. LindaG, a.k.a. at LindaG.
Oh, he nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. I would like to say that people might truly be getting tired of me, but I'm having the time of my life, so I'm all for it.
No, it hasn't been long enough for people to get tired of you yet. Don't worry about that.
When you're loud enough, the time frame is pretty, like, it's second.
It shortens.
Second,
I've noticed that around. I've noticed that with people around me. Yeah. Yeah, they're like, okay, I need to get away from this guy.
That's
right.
We're talking Women's History Month, so, you know, props to the ladies of fantasy, the women of fantasy. You guys are killing it. And I'm so proud to be a part of everything that's kind of this wave of just inclusiveness. And I don't know, is it a wave of inclusiveness, or are you still getting like pounded in your DMs with fucking...
I mean, and I've talked about this before. We've made a lot of steps in the right direction, but a lot of steps for a lot of distance, I think, is where you have to, like, yes, we've done a lot, but yes, there's still a lot to do. Like, I still get people, like I said, I liked Mac Jones, and somebody was like, this is why women shouldn't play fantasy football. I'm like, this is why? I have so many worse traits. I have, like, so many worse.
It hasn't even played a snap yet.
The one. Yeah, this can't be the one that, like, exiles me.
Meanwhile, he probably played like junior high or pee wee football.
Oh yeah,
some sort of expert, you know.
But there is certainly more inclusiveness, and it's so nice, like, being in this space and the amount of women that I get to talk to on a daily basis. I mean, last year I feel like when I started, it was Kate and Michelle, and they absolutely set a fire behind them and paved the way for. Now there's like Steffi Smalls, and Victoria's killing it, and Cooter Doodle is a goddamn treat. It's so nice to have all these extra voices. I want to hear extra voices.
No, it's totally cool to not be just a sausage fest out here all the time, you know?
Yeah, you would think it would be like, dudes would be like, yes, but they are not.
Right?
Not all of them.
We're trying to bring everybody in, all that inclusive. There's always going to be a jackass or a dozen, you know?
Especially when you're a kicker fan, that it doubles.
I was going to say that might, you know, of all the traits, that might be the one that turns.
Yeah, I feel like that should be the one that they're like, this is why she should.
You could be a chick, but if you're pimping kickers, we're
done with that.
Have a conversation, Linda. I'm just saying. I have one of my best friends is a huge kicker fan, like annoyingly, like invested in kicker stats and stuff. It's crazy.
It's so fun for me.
Let's get into kickers.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I play in a league that's got kickers still, and I'm just like, fucking A, man, the fucking kicker. Same. I stream you're supposed to stream when you have a kicker, right?
Yeah.
Is that the best way to do it?
See, I'm a streamer. I'm not. People are like, unless you get Justin Tucker. No, that's not how that works. Like, there are people tell you there's no skill in figuring out which kicker is going to go off each week, but last season I streamed. I gave a streaming kicker that was under 20% rostered in redraft leagues, and I gave a kicker every week. Only 1 week did that kicker not finish top 5. So don't tell me that a kicker there's like no skill to that. There's tons of it. It's just a part of the game that people don't want to look into, and that's fine. I got no beef with people that don't want kickers. That's fantastic. So quit having beef with me because I like them.
That's fair. So do you think that the kicking thing stems from your soccer roots?
It's actually so much deeper than that. My dad kicked at Oklahoma State and kicked like he's right-handed, kicked southpaw barefoot. So it's like, it's insane. If you knew my dad, like, it would make my personality make a lot of sense. And that wouldn't really surprise you that he was out there kicking barefoot. But I have all boy siblings and cousins, and we'd go out and throw the football on Thanksgiving. Well, I got noodle arms for days. I can't throw a football. It's not good. So yeah, I would punt it. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's a part of the game that people dismiss that I think is crucial. And I got a buddy helping me make a database that I have all the data from games that went down in the last 2 minutes to coming down to a kick to win or lose that game. And just looking at how often they're disregarded. And the thing that irks me the most is when a kicker wins a game or even a punter nails a punt, they're praised for days, but God forbid they miss or shank a punt. Holy cow.
You had one job.
Yeah. And you're like, well, okay. I mean, there's like a lot of factors and everybody just needs to, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't preach at everybody to woo-saw. That would take, it's not worth it for mental health for me.
So do you have any like extreme scoring settings for kickers that you enjoy, or are you just like standard kicker?
All of my like redraft leagues, like my home leagues and any of the leagues that I'm in that have a kicker are very basic scoring. That being said, I am working on an all kicker and punter league that's going to have some kind of obscure scoring, you know, deducted points for misses and tiered points for depending on how far out you are and how far your punt goes. And so I'm really excited about that. I'm going to make that wonky and worthwhile. I've seen where people do like 0.1 point per yard. I think that's a little nuanced for me, but that's because I don't like math. So I'd much rather be like, oh, it was a 19 to 30 yard kick, so that's 1 point or whatever, because that's much easier for I'm not trying to do that kind of quick math in my head. I'd never get through a game. I'd be thinking about the first kick by halftime. Like, okay, I finally got an answer.
You have a lot going on. There's like, I mean, looking at your Twitter little, I don't know what you call that. What is that, a bio? Or
a bio? Nailed it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Dynasty Sons, FF Confidential, Fantasy Besties, join our circle. You're now the new host of the Speakeasy, right? Got to get that up there, and for fantasy sake, that's because you have kicker advocate in there, right?
Well, I want people like that's why I have cursing. Like I drink a lot. I want people to know what the hell they're getting into. Because then people follow me and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you like kickers." I'm like, if you would have done your research, you would have known that. That's not on me. You already hit the button. Now you're stuck. I just want people to know what they're getting into.
So you have a lot of stuff that you're into. Do you have like a pod shirt collection, or you buy any merch from like any of the shows you're on and that you are part of?
I got a pretty hefty collection from Viridian Global as a whole. I like to buy merch for the players that I adore in fantasy. I've got like a Cole Beasley shirt, which is ridiculous. It's a picture of him with bees on his kneecaps, and it says the bee's knees. How was I not going to buy that? And then the Bills kicker, Tyler Bass, he's got a shirt that says Bass Pro Kicker, and it's like the Bass Pro shop logo. So I got that. How's I not going to get that? Like if you can put a stellar pun on a shirt, I will throw money.
Well, speaking of Viridian Global, Dynasty Hot Sauce Pod has partnered with Viridian Global also. And we got some cool hoodies, some t-shirts. And if you enter Dynasty Hot Sauce in the code box when you're checking out, you'll get 20% off your total order. So get on that, dude.
Yeah, I'm wearing my hoodie right now, and this thing is legit, like super soft, super soft. There's no break-in period for this. You don't need to throw it in the dryer for 6 cycles to get it loosened up. No, I threw this thing on, and I was like,
yeah,
soft as shit. Everything I've ever gotten from there, I'm like, oh, this is nice.
Right. Fantasy Stoner put it good. Like it's not sitting in some warehouse, collecting dust. Like they make this stuff to order. So, hey man, pick up some merch, and there's a whole bunch of other pods there. But
supposed to be working on some kicker shirts for me. So if they're watching, I haven't forgot. I checked today, and there was still not an option under positions.
I had to put my my John Hall kicker of the New York Jets jersey on.
We love to see it. Do you
He
see?
kicked in 1997 for Parcells.
I was 4. My buddies from Dynasty Rewind does like a YMCA. They like raise money for kids that can't get like sporting equipment. Troy retweeted and tagged me, and I was like, yeah, I've been keeping an eye on this or whatever. My buddy Shevin tagged a bunch of kickers in it, and he was like, you think we could get a kicker to see this? And Zane Gonzalez, who just got released by the Arizona Cardinals, but Zane Gonzalez saw it and was like, this is awesome, and made a donation. So that was fucking dope.
Nice.
That was a dope day on Twitter.
That's amazing. This morning, a league mate who was new, just took over an orphan in one of my leagues, is trying to sell me Joe Mixon.
Okay.
So he wants not only DeAndre Swift, but an additional first.
He's new. That's his problem.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
I checked in on Joe Mixon's ADP from DLF. He's an RB20 right now. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Joe Mixon anyway? Forget about this DeAndre Swift part, but just in general.
Here's my issue is the offensive line. So my issue resides less with Joe Mixon as a player, but more with what he's got blocking for him. And people are like, yeah, they're going to invest in that. Well, that's fantastic. But as a Broncos fan, you can invest in the O-line, and that shit doesn't pay off for another 2 to 3 years. And by that time, I'm not going to want any part of Joe Mixon. I think you can start to improve an O-line, but an O-line doesn't go from trash to spectacular in one offseason. It just is not going to happen. So that leaves me super apprehensive to have any Joe Mixon shares.
Yeah? How do you feel, Justin? 25 years old when the season starts.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm liking a lot of these other players, I'm going to like Joe Mixon. And that's just he has performed in the past with that shitty offensive line. In 2019, he was on a per game basis. Let's see here. And that's generally what I look for out of running backs per game. Let's see, 14.1 points a game. He was the RB19 in 2019, and that was his worst year. I think RB20 is probably a little bit low. And so I'll take him.
One would think that, but when you see the what is in the top 20 or who is in the top 20, Joe Mixon or Zeke Elliott?
Zeke, yeah,
who's currently RB16.
That's not going to last, I don't think.
Yeah, yeah. Mixon or Austin Eckler.
Eckler. No, PPR Eckler.
Yeah. I'll take Mixon. I don't trust Eckler.
And Eckler's the RB18. But yeah, it's all big time guys. You know, you got Aaron Jones at 15. That'll probably spike when he signs somewhere. And then you have Miles Sanders, a CEH at RB13. Najee Harris is already getting picked as RB12. Then you got Gibson, Dobbins, Akers, Henry, Swift, Chubb. You know,
I will never understand, or unless something crazy happens, how Aaron Jones is going to get a bump. Because whatever situation he ends up in is not going to be as good as the Packers.
You think if he ends up in Miami, it's not as good?
The efficiency won't be there. He's not going to get, a million red zone touches and goal line touches. I mean,
that makes me sad. I like Aaron Jones and his sombrero.
But if he's going to be somebody's big time free agent acquisition, they're going to want to showcase that.
If you're not scoring at the rate that the Packers are, if you're not getting into the position that you are, it's not like you're going to end up with, the same volume in those opportunities.
That's fair.
Interesting.
He went 16 and 9 touchdowns. He's got 25 touchdowns the last 2 years.
I don't like this. I don't like you talking me out of Aaron Jones. It's fucking too late. I already have too much.
I so wanted him to be on the Packers because it's the only place that makes the most sense. It's not the only place, but it's the place that makes the most sense for him. And everyone's talking about, if he goes there and if he goes here. If he goes to Miami, what is he? Scoring 6 touchdowns? And, is he going to run for 5.2 yards a carry or whatever stupid number it is that he's been clicking off? I mean, it's ridiculous, his efficiency the last couple seasons. And is he going to get 75 or 80 targets?
So Joe Mixon or Aaron Jones?
I'll take Mixon.
Whoa.
I don't even think it's that spicy. Like, you're talking about a back-end RB1 for basically his entire career when he plays. Now, that's the key. But there's also an overblown narrative that Joe Mixon is always hurt. And let's see,
And Chris Carson too.
Well, Chris Carson did miss a lot of games.
He didn't miss a lot of games. He missed. I mean, before last season started, everybody was like, he's always hurt. He got hurt the very last game of the season and missed the last game in the off season. And then he got hurt again. But I think he didn't finish the season because he knew he was going to be a free agent.
That's fair.
And even in 3 years, he's missed 8 games, I think.
It was that first year that really, before this season, Mixon played 14, 14, and 16 games. So he missed 4 games in his first 3 seasons. So the idea that he's just always hurt and missing games, man, whatever. Well, Terry McLaurin just came out and said he had, high ankle sprain or something. I mean, I don't even react to these anymore. Everyone's having some sort of off-season surgery or has had some sort of major injury that they played through, yada, yada, yada. Like the people that, Julio Jones is one of those that he's always got foot problems, etc. Well, it's just because you hear about him. Everybody's out there playing through an injury. If it's not torn or broken, guys are out there playing through it.
Sometimes even if it's torn and broken.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I had a broken finger and I played, that kind of thing.
That's why anytime anybody's like, I could go out there and do that, I'm like, shut the fuck up. No,
right, exactly.
Please don't say that shit. And don't include me in all 3 of us could go out. Not me. No.
No.
So where do you think Aaron Jones ends up?
I would love for him to go, like I said, to Miami. But now I'm like, I've got to reevaluate everything because
money.
But yeah, nobody.
Right. There's 13 teams that aren't in the red or something like that.
So listen, Aaron Jones put up some monster production. Take a little bit off the top, and he's still right up there.
Hey, how about the Jets?
Aaron Jones to the Jets. I don't think they need.
They do, and
I don't think he would come there. I mean, unless it was a payday, true. I don't think they're going to pay him.
But of the teams that have the money, okay, so Jags have the most money. I don't think that they're going to do that. They got James Robinson. I think that they're content with that. They'll probably work on some other big spending, and you can roll over some cap. So they might try to roll over some cap as well.
Right.
Jets, Patriots. If he ain't going to the Jets, he ain't going to the Patriots. The Colts, well, they're not going to sign him. The Bengals, they've got Mixon. Washington football team, they've got You got the Broncos with Melgo. I don't know if they're going to be in the market for a big name running back. No, the Chargers, I don't think he's going there. 49ers, that would be a sweet spot for him to land.
But I don't want that because I want the 49ers to draft Chuba Hubbard more than I want anything in the entire world. So,
and then it's the Dolphins, Seahawks, Ravens, Texans. There's not that many options out there for him to get paid, to really get paid.
The franchise tag went on a handful of wide receivers or big name wide receivers, but we still have Galladay and Juju, to a lesser extent Corey Davis. I mean, the pickings are slim, and there's a lot of teams that need a
Will Fuller. Will Fuller's in that list.
I don't consider Will Fuller for anything.
Well, he's got to be kind of
other than in the back of an ambulance.
He's kind of got to be on the same level as Corey Davis, though, right?
For me, yes. But also, I don't like Corey Davis, so.
And I do like Corey Davis, but I mean, it's not like he's blown as Matthew Berry would say, blown the roof off the doors.
So you got Galladay coming off a hip, and Juju, who's kind of been banged up the past couple of years.
Yeah.
But Juju's got the youth on his side.
Anytime Juju's age is compared to other players' ages, I'm like, what the shit? I feel like he's already had a 5-year career and he's still 19.
He could be in this rookie class, I swear.
It's insane.
I think he and Najee are almost the same age.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we have some couple tight ends too. How do you feel about tight ends? You big tight end premium or?
I like tight ends because they're really helpful for my kicker argument.
Yeah.
So I'm a Blake Jarwin truther. Everybody was like, Pitts is going to Dallas, and I can't get behind that at all. I would love for Kyle Pitts to go to the Chargers. I'm not sure he makes it that far in the draft, but God, could you imagine Justin Herbert throwing passes to Kyle Pitts? Whew! But I'm excited to see where Hunter Henry goes because I like Hunter Henry. I think he's a talented tight end. So I'm excited to see where he ends up. Tight end's such a you can just pick one and be like, this one. Why? Because because that's the one I want to do good this season.
Yeah,
and they might. You don't know.
Right, like there's like that tier of like 10 tight ends that we all just expect they're gonna break out and one will come through or whatever. Jonnu Smith has been the hyped tight end of the pre-off season. I don't know how you look at a guy who's career high is 400 and some odd yards and a handful of touchdowns and be like, yeah, he's gonna be the big free agent signing somewhere and or he's gonna be a top 10 tight end. I don't get it.
So everybody's going to be a top 10 tight end right now, depending on who you ask. I mean,
yeah, that's fair. I do like Hunter Henry a lot, though.
Yeah,
he plays on the field.
Then the two young guys this past week, spotlight was on them, Irv Smith and Adam Troutman. I don't really hear too many bad things about Troutman, but I've heard a couple of things about Irv Smith that, he's just going to be Kyle Rudolph. And, how do you feel about Irv Smith Jr.?
I like Irv Smith Jr. I'm not opposed to that. He's in that range of tight ends for me, regardless of redraft or dynasty, that I'm going to skip on. I'm either going to take a bona fide tight end or I'm going to throw a dart at one and take value elsewhere. Yeah. So he's kind of in that range of tight ends that I'm probably not going to draft. But I could see him producing. I don't know that he's like a top 5 talent, but with tight end, that could be a very minimal line to be a top 5. And with Troutman, I get the appeal, I guess, but people are fading Alvin Kamara because they don't know what's going to happen with quarterback for the Saints. And there's so many questions about that offense. But Troutman, all of a sudden, everybody's like, yep, that's the guy. Well, fucking why? What changed? Why are we fading and their best running back? But all of a sudden, this tight end that's not really ever proved himself all of a sudden may get this opportunity to be their tight end one, and everybody loses their freaking mind over it. And I'm like, I don't understand what that's about. So I'm not on board with that at all. I mean, as a stash, I guess it's nice if you picked him up in a late round and you have him. It works out. That's fantastic. But he's not a guy I'm trying to go out and buy.
Can we get 2016 Kyle Rudolph? If we can get that kind of production, all about some Irv Smith.
Rudolph the red zone reindeer? That production?
Well, that was the year he had 132 targets. I'll take that. Can I take a wide receiver 1 level of targets? Can I get 83 catches from him?
Was that like Case Keenum?
Probably. I don't know. It's 2016. It's 2016 Minnesota. Who really gives a shit?
You in a bunch of leagues? How many leagues you, Linda? Yeah.
It's so much nicer to answer this question during the off season when I'm not in 400 redrafts.
Right. Yeah.
I'm in 12 dynasty leagues. I think I'm going to join one more. But last season I was like, yeah, I'll join all of them. And I'd never played dynasty before. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I draft well, but I didn't trade. I was just sheepish about it. And so in any of the ones that I joined, and I take full blame for this, but any of the ones that I joined that I didn't know anybody in, that weren't super active, I was like, there's no reason for me to be here because I'm not doing anything to further this league. So I was able to keep some. I feel like an asshole for that, but there were some leagues that I paid for a second year and then backed out and said, somebody can have this year from me because I got way too overzealous last year. And I want to be able to trade and interact and be active in my leagues because that's what makes Dynasty fun. And it took me some time to learn that. But yeah, probably in 12 or 13 Dynasty leagues, couple keepers, which I like. I like keepers because it's kind of a both situation.
Oh, okay. Like 10 to 15 is kind of like a sweet spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right in there.
Until redraft season hits, and then I'll be like, 32.
Yeah, I'll get in that one. All charity leagues start coming around.
Oh my God, I'm such a fucking sucker. Right. Yeah, I'll do it. Well, which is fine. I guess if there's a reason to fuel my addiction, charity is the reason. So I gotta write it off as that.
As long as it's a charity league that it's all right, drafted, best ball, and I'm out. I don't have to do anything.
I did my first best ball last year. Was not very good at it, but have studied a little bit more about how a draft for best ball is supposed to go and realize the player targets are different and stuff. So I am excited to do that.
Different.
I've just been filling myself with mock drafts. I just every day I do one to make myself feel good and to keep everything at bay.
And see, in the meantime, every day Larry and I do a startup, so it's fine.
Well, I did my first startup before last season ended. I was like, what the fuck? This is a problem.
Somebody at the angry sports couple, him.
It
asked
was
me to,
that. Yep. Those. Okay, so I say no, right? And they're like, we're gonna add kickers. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
we could have been in the league together.
They.
I was like, I had too much you have too much going on at the end of the season, you know. I'm just like, I'm already focused. I'm already locked in. I'm like, I don't want to. I'm not in that frame of mind right then and there.
Yeah.
To do to get in the startup mindset.
Fuckers.
They're like, look at the bottom there. It has a K.
Yeah, they did it on purpose. I'm 100% sure.
We are taking our time in filling the first ever Dynasty Hot Sauce Listener League. We have a nice it's coming along nice. It's going to be a 14-teamer super flex tight end premium.
I had some folks sliding up in them DMs I was talking about. Hey.
Justin was in there last week. He put on the Barry White and
any dick pics?
Yeah, he requested dick pics, and next thing you know,
they're in the league.
That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do.
Oh no! Don't send me any. I don't know.
Just send your dick pics to him. He appreciates that. So anyway, So in order to get in the league, if you're interested,
it's not dick pics, damn it.
Outside of the dick pic that you want to send, it doesn't have to be yours. Just send anybody.
Don't send me Brett Favre's little
DFF.
Do not send me Brett Favre's.
He's on Instagram too.
Jets era.
So just slide into our DMs. No dick pics. Just whatever, man. Express your interest, and you're in, man. You're in the league. Even if we have to go 16, we'll make it happen. Get in. If you're not on Twitter, email fflarrymonkey at gmail. FF baby. I like the FF in the beginning as opposed to the FF at the end. It didn't work for like Larry Monkey FF doesn't necessarily work.
No, yeah, I like FF Larry better.
Larry Monkey works better.
No, I'm not going to say the last part, just FF Larry.
There you go. You can do that too. So I don't know. So there's a lot of before we get into some trades, there is a lot of trading going on right now. I know that some leagues are kind of in a dead zone, but auctions are kind of perking up now, and I don't know, there's a lot of action in some of my leagues. There's players that are like ground zero level that I feel like you can get cheap if you're interested in adding a piece to your roster. I just did a startup. Justin and I did a startup for the Fantasy Timeline Listener League. I grabbed Mark Ingram. Did you see that, Justin?
No, I didn't. That did not register for me, dude.
I grabbed Mark. When do you think I got Mark Ingram in a startup?
Has free agency started yet? Did you get him there?
No, I mean, granted, we're talking about Mark Ingram. Yes, so he's a free agent too as well. But I grabbed him in the 4th round, the 24-10, the 286th pick. I got Mark Ingram. Now he's going to sign somewhere. And I feel like he's got a little left in the tank. I'd rather have him than Adrian Peterson.
I wouldn't rather have either of those, which I know isn't the game we're playing. But Mark Ingram, I don't know that I've been in a single startup where Mark Ingram ended up not off the board.
I feel like he's a good buy right now.
Meanwhile, I'll take Justice Hill at every 25th round.
Right. I'd rather shoot for the young guy who has some outside shot of actually being a starter sometime. You saw something in Mark Ingram last year that said he still got juice?
No, but you know what it was 2 years ago? I had him on a team, and when him and LJax were fucking locked in. So I've always had Mark Ingram since that season, like out of the corner of my eye. And I know he didn't play much this past year. I don't know why that was.
Like 98 years old.
But he's not like Frank Gore old, you know. I think
no one is Frank Gore.
Frank Gore is an alien, and I really will take no argument to that statement at all.
That's you're right.
I don't think you can, you can't take age and compare it to Frank Gore because he's immortal. And I think that's fantastic for him. There is no storyline I want more than Frank Gore and Frank Gore Jr. both being in the NFL at the same time. I've never wanted anything more in my life.
I'm sure if we went through and found, if we looked at rosters, there's running backs that are disappearing Highlander style. That's just because Frank Gore is out there taking their souls One of
I'm all,
the sleeping in the league.
I'm all in on Frank Gore being an alien. That would be that's awesome.
I always want it to be aliens, and it's never aliens. So maybe this time.
It could be this time. Yeah.
All right, well, whatever. So Mark Ingram, maybe he's an alien. What do you got as a buy low? Who you trading for scraps? Who are you trading a 4th round pick?
Oh man, see, I was hoping you would say 3rd rounder so I could find
3rd rounder.
actual people that.
Right, okay. Who are you trading a 3rd round pick for?
Can you get Wayne Gallman for a 3rd rounder right now?
Oh, you Wayne.
You know I want Wayne Gallman. You know it.
Wayne Gallman fan club president.
No, but how about David Johnson? I got him for 2/3 a few weeks ago, and I feel like that's fine.
Yeah, I think if you're competing, I don't know why you don't want David Johnson for 1 year on an offense that is going to be what? But it's going to have him. That's the only piece of the offense that I'm willing to go out and acquire right now. Watson, obviously, I don't care where. If he goes somewhere else, I don't give a shit. You want him on your team, but that's like an obvious buy. In terms of the rest of the offense, though, not that there's a whole lot, David Johnson is going to be a prime back in that offense for at least a year, so long as he doesn't get hurt. Damn.
So I do have a sneaky one that completely off the radar you can get as a complete throw-in, and people are going to be so disgusted by this, but how about Damian Williams?
It's me. I'm people. I'm disgusted by that.
Me too.
Hey, Larry's over here talking about 4th rounders.
Dude, Mark Ingram, dude.
No, I'd rather have
Ingram or Damian Williams.
Damian Williams.
I know.
Sorry.
It hurts to say it. I know.
If there's I would rather have Sony Michel than Damian Williams. I know. Here's the thing. I'm friends with a Patriots fan, and just like we just did that Aaron Jones exercise where you like completely talked me out of him. He's been doing that to me, like brainwashing me for months about how Damian Williams isn't the answer. So I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm not afraid to be like, oh, I learned that, so I changed my point of view. I'm not saying I'm going to take Sony Michel, but he's a running back that I don't mind taking in the 16th, 17th, 18th round as like a dude if I need to plug him in for a bye week. That's like, I love that kind of running back.
And all these running backs get shots. They all get chances.
So I actually bought Sony Michel in my auction startup. Yep. It is a hodgepodge of shit show in this running back room.
Well, give us an over. Was it less than $10?
Oh yeah, no. There's no way I spent $10 on. I'll pull this up while we're talking. No way I spent anywhere near $10 on a.
Well, this is the one you spent $50 on Sam Darnold, and all the other QBs were going for like over 200.
Yeah,
the one you're talking about,
right?
I like Sam Darnold. You guys still Sam Darnold truthers? Or
look at him. He's right there over my shoulder.
I know. I love that fathead.
I'm not, but I can get behind spending, $50 on a $1,200 budget for him. So
I just bought Drew Lock and Sony Michel the other day, so. I
can't get behind the Drew Lock thing, and I'm sorry. I know you're a Broncos fan.
Oh yeah,
we need to have an intervention right here, okay? Okay? All the other Broncos fans I know have realized that this is not happening.
John Hogue was on the show talking. He was just like, "Yep, He thought he was the last one holding out on Drew Lock. Looks like.
Oh, well, you can give him some solace in knowing that I just bought him literally last week. Okay, here's my thing with Drew Lock, and I'm not trying to get into this argument right now, but here's the thing. Mm-hmm. He's faced serious injuries for 2 seasons. He hasn't had the same OC for 2 years back to back since 2017. We're finally going to have consistency in coaching. He didn't have his wide receiver 1 last year. He had Noah Fant was the only person that had any, I can't get behind Tim Patrick now if Cortland Sutton is back at full health with Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler and Noah Fant and Melvin Gordon. Those are all pass catching options. So I'm just not sure what role he'll have. I want him to succeed because I love an underdog story. It's the same reason I'm a Philip Lindsay fan. I can't give up on Drew Lock, man. I own a Trevor Siemian jersey, for fuck's sake.
Nice.
I will root for it until it's not anymore.
Any Tebow?
No, but I didn't really get into the NFL and fantasy football until Super Bowl where the Seahawks kicked the Broncos fucking ass. That was when I was, yeah. and I was pregnant, so I couldn't drink or like console any of the.
Ooh.
Oh, it's brutal. My fandom is not as deeply ingrained as all Broncos fans.
I got an update. I actually spent more than $10 on Sony Michelle.
Damn, and you were like, nah,
I
fuck
know.
no.
Good.
I had
You
no idea.
like I insulted
$16.
his mom or something.
Right.
the
I
way
spent
he acted.
$16 on Sony Michelle. I feel like I may have overspent. That was
bought-
1.3% of my budget. I didn't
Nice.
budget well for that.
All right, man. If you
Yeah.
get one good game out of him, he's worth it then.
Well, no, because I probably wouldn't have started him then. That's the issue. But look, when you're talking about, okay, so I got Miles Sanders. Well, you know my boy Wayne Gallman's on my roster.
Oh, God loves Wayne Gallman.
Sony, carry on. Jarrett Patterson, Kylan Hill, and Ramondre Stevenson, because it's rookies were included. It's a Debbie league as well, and then Josh Adams.
I don't like Kylan Hill.
Oh, I do love Kylan Hill.
I know a lot of people do. I cannot.
I think he's going to be a second round value in rookie drafts.
So I traded for Drew Lock and Sonny Michel, and I gave up a 2022 first, of which I have 3. Not a 2021
Super flex.
first.
Why would
Yeah.
you give up a 2022 first for 2 backups?
I don't know. They're going to be backups, you little shit. I think Drew Lock starts in 2021. I think
Maybe.
it's put up or shut the fuck up for him in 2021.
Would you rather have Drew Lock or Jared Goff?
Oh, this is easy.
I have no, not for me.
It's easy for anyone except Linda.
I don't think if Jared Goff was on the Broncos, it would be the answer, because I don't think they have the tools that Jared Goff does well with. Here's the issue. I think Jared Goff did well on McVay's offense because McVay made that offense fit to Jared Goff. I am concerned about him everywhere else. I think Drew Lock is going to be fine. I think I'd take Drew Lock.
That's a hot
And
take.
I love it.
That's super
That's
spicy,
hot.
ugly hot take.
That is a hot take.
Oof. That is
Yeah,
some
I know.
hot sauce.
Expect my homerism not to come out. Fucking fight me. I don't know.
Yeah, but see, this is like that hot sauce that got left in the sun at the barbecue for like a week, and then you walk back out there.
I don't like hot sauce, so the fact that I got invited is insane.
Nice.
Well, we didn't know that about you, so it's really nice talking to you. And
Yeah,
we're just going to have to let you be an honorary guest without having to commit to the actual spiciness. Till you bring out the Drew Lock take.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
I think
not.
Jared Goff plays in a shorter system. And so here's the other thing is the coaching's like offensive coordinator and coaching staff did not play to Drew Lock's strengths, which he plays well in a fast-paced, let's go offense. If he has too much time to think, he's fucked. He's an overthinker. And as an overthinker, I identify with him.
Nice.
I would much rather just wing it.
Dude, what you're doing, you're dishing some hot sauce right now. That's what I'm talking
Oh,
about. This is
so I
this
do
is
like
some
hot
Dynasty hot sauce. You're dishing it.
Perfect.
Bam.
I love to be
Boom.
on brand.
There you go. So let's get into some fucking trades, baby. Woo-hoo!
Let's go.
Trade alert. Trade alert. Oh, Justin's got a trade. Oh,
Let's
let's
say-
discuss
let's
your
talk.
trade now because
Okay.
you're
All
like almost like on the clock because your trade,
Yeah.
he hasn't accepted anything yet, but there is a trade.
It is a really good, fair offer. All right. So it is a 12-team, 4-copy. So it's 48 teams, 12-team divisions. Basically, tiered PPR. So half point for running back 1 and then 1.75 for tight ends.
Is this the DDCL?
It is the DDCL.
Oh,
That is
I'm
correct.
in this league.
You are in this league, and you didn't make this offer to me, so I'm a little
I
disappointed.
did not. Interesting.
Okay, so I like the youngsters. I do. This is really pulling at my heartstrings. But Christian McCaffrey or AJ Brown and what is basically the 110 tiered PPR, no point per carry bonus or anything. So nothing's gonna make it crazy.
This league is a start 10, start 1 running back minimum.
Yeah.
So
And I
that's
have Jonathan Taylor, and I also don't have a lot at wide receiver. I have AJ Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. The reason my team is competitive is because my tight ends and quarterbacks are really nice.
What's the full trade?
CMC or AJ Brown and the 110.
I think what you need more than what wins the trade. So like you post that trade on Twitter, people are going to be like, it's CMC by a mile. But if you have a good running back room, then I don't think it's CMC by a mile.
But so right now, because I don't even know if CMC will make it to my week 1 roster, is the value on the CMC side.
Now, Linda, this draft is interesting, this rookie draft, because it's 4 12-team divisions all in the same draft. So it's 48 teams.
Yeah,
so the picks go 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, and there's 4 of the same guy. So you might have a couple, if at the 110, you might have a couple traditional 1-7, 1-8s that kind of fall through the cracks, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I think there's absolutely a chance some players fall through the cracks.
Right.
In that
Yeah,
kind of
so
setup.
that could be a Travis Etienne or
What I was going to say is we're definitely going to have probably 3 quarterbacks, Lawrence, Fields, and I'm guessing Lance. Somebody might go Wilson, whatever. You're going to have Kyle Pitts because it's a 1.75.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're going to have Najee and Chase. So you're at 6 players already off the board.
you'll easily have Mac Jones unless he goes to a sweet spot.
I don't want Mac Jones, so
A quarterback in Superflex, though.
yeah, but it's Mac
It'll be a
Jones.
first round. He'll have the draft capital, which will guarantee him like a year or 2 starting.
Yeah, but still, it's Bateman more.
No. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I have no connection to. I think I'm going AJ Brown and the 110 only because of I'm infatuated with that 110 and what that might entail. And it also give me room to play around. I can flip that 110 if a player falls down to me that someone else is in love with. AJ Brown's a stud, and you have CMC in a league that you only need to start 1 running back, and you have Jonathan Taylor. You could fill the thing. You don't necessarily need that extra stud. It's nice to have.
See, what I would probably end up doing is trying to work CMC for a couple wide receivers or something like that and getting a little bit more depth. But I don't know if that gets me in a better position than AJ Brown and whatever receiver I'm getting at the 110. If I'm taking a receiver there.
Yeah, I mean, his values kind of is not as high as it normally would be because that unsettled quarterback position.
Could I do like CMC for Calvin Ridley and Juju, something like that? I already have Juju, but just as a general idea, is that something that
Calvin Ridley owners are not antsy to give away Calvin Ridley?
Yeah. Well, the beauty of this league is you have 4 of them.
Yeah. Right.
God damn.
That is the key.
Y'all are psychopaths.
Yeah, right. If you have one guy who's really locked into a player, you just go to the other 3, and send out the same offer basically to all 4 of them and see
you blasting the same offer out to 4 different guys.
Yeah, you don't even have to go to the next league. You just go to the next team on there.
Oh my God.
It's amazing.
Insane.
Yeah. Calvin Ridley and Deontay Johnson for CMC. I bet that it gets accepted.
Deontay drops it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Love that one.
I don't know if that puts me in a better position than AJ Brown, who's better than, for me, value-wise, better than Calvin Ridley, and then the 110, which is equivalent at least to Deontay. So, damn it, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know that I want to make the move.
I think what you can get from an AJ Brown and what you can get from a 110 like that
combination,
that like if you can maximize all those assets and just flip them and flip them and flip them, and that'll equal much more than a CMC.
Yeah.
110 and AJ Brown, everyone is in love with him, right?
Yes, everyone is.
Yeah.
Yes, there's no doubt.
Like AJ Brown, guy's a beast.
If I saw AJ Brown deniers, I don't think that exists. There's plenty of deniers out there, but I'm not sure there's any AJB ones.
I think I have to keep AJ Brown because I need to start 2 wide receivers, and it's kind of a clusterfuck. Juju and AJ Brown and Corey Davis, Jamison Crowder.
Where do you think Juju goes, or where do you want Juju to go?
Okay, now that's a different question. I mean, Miami's the easy answer,
but I already said Miami for Aaron Jones, so I gotta mix it up.
Well, they could go 2. They can get both of them.
I wouldn't mind them on the Jets. The blueprint that the Bills did, because the Bills and Jets both drafted their quarterbacks at the same time. They patchworked an offensive line together. They signed all the offensive line they could, and they signed all the wide receivers they could. The Jets didn't none of that, and that's why you have, the Bills were able to build off of that. So they picked up like Cole Beasley. Everyone's like Cole Beasley. He had like a better season than DJ Moore at one point this season.
Dude,
right?
I'm so happy for Cole Beasley. The absolute disrespect. And all season, he got disrespect. I'm like, he's a valuable flex play.
Top 24 wide receiver. Yeah.
They picked up John Brown and Cole Beasley and then just backfilled more and more and kept doing that. Whereas, good for
All
them.
right, so teams that could really use him, the Raiders. That's kind of an easy one.
The Raiders have a whole bunch of wide receivers that have the exact same skill set.
Right. They all suck too. So.
Henry Ruggs cheap as shit right now. I know.
He should be cheap as shit. You
I
know,
know.
when you're
I'm just
buying a
saying.
pile of trash, you don't want to pay much for it. I mean, that's a clearance rack, so whatever.
He's still a little shiny. He's not on the clearance rack just yet. He's still shiny from last year.
He's that when you look at the Walmart rollback and they just have 1 penny off of it. Like they have the yellow tag and instead of $17.97, it says $17.96. Rollback price. That's Henry Ruggs right now.
1 penny in Dynasty talks is like tears, though.
Yeah.
Like that could be an entire conversation.
The Cards could use them. He'd be a really good fit with DeAndre Hopkins too.
What about Washington? I don't know how much money they have. I don't do contracts. I already said
They've got
numbers
money.
make me sick. Terry McLaurin to stretch the field and Juju to play that line.
Yeah, but the only issue is we want Juju to be productive. And who's the quarterback in Washington?
We don't know yet.
Exactly.
That's fun.
That's the problem.
That's
that's not the fun part. That's the scary part, Linda.
Oh my God. You got to get accustomed to chaos. Makes your heart beat fast and shit.
I like the chaos, but I also want to have some perspective, like value there. You know, if it's Tyler Heineke or whatever, I'm scared to death.
So are you countering the CMC AJB, or are you just going to let it?
I don't know. I'm going to sit on it for another hour or two, but I'm afraid to move AJ Brown and end up with Juju as my number one wide receiver. And then piecing together my second wide receiver because I have to start two of them with Corey Davis and Jamison Crowder, et cetera. I like having the bona fide number one, at least in terms of perceived value. You know,
we're all on the same page.
Especially with the tiered PPR situation.
Right. Yeah, it kind of if this was a full PPR, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. I would have punched accept and dealt with the consequences later.
Just learned about tiered PPR last year when I drafted a team and I was like, winner. And then I like computed the points in my head and I was like, oh no, I didn't do that right at all. A bit like best ball. I didn't realize how to like draft for that situation.
Yeah.
Like, last year, my biggest lesson was how important scoring format is.
Oh, it's a huge, that's key.
I also made a trade that involved AJ Brown. And this actually went down today in the Pigs League, which is a 2-copy league, Linda. So there's 28. Scott Fish runs these Pigs Leagues. So I don't know. He had an orphan and I jumped at it and I've been transforming it ever since, from a year ago. So anyway, which side do you got? Carson Wentz, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, or Justin Herbert, James Robinson, OBJ, Lockett, and the 322.
Oh, man.
That is Wentz, AJB, Terry McLaurin, or Herbert, James Robinson, OBJ, Lockett, meaningless draft pick. Superflex, tight end premium 1.5.
I think Herbert could end up being the QB 2 or 3. So I'm like maybe higher on Herbert than the consensus. OBJ, I think, is really cheap right now. But, man, I love McLaurin. And I like where Carson Wentz landed in Indianapolis. I like that offensive line for him. He's got a couple weapons. Makes me way too anxious. Trades make me nervous. I need somebody else to fill this one.
This is also a start one running back. Yeah, I believe so.
How many total starters?
10 starters.
10 starters, start one.
So, running back 1 to 6.
Yeah.
And wide receiver 2 to 7. Wentz, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin for Herbert, J-Rob, OBJ, and Lockett.
I think I want the Herbert side.
I took the Herbert side.
I think I do too.
I was already in pretty good shape with in the wide receiver department and pretty light at running back. All I was able to start this past season was Kareem Hunt. I actually traded for AJ Dillon, now James Robinson. So I have 2 running backs and Kareem Hunt, and LaMichael P. Ryan. So I have some depth for a start one running back lineup.
I traded away OBJ recently, but I have no issue with trading for him right now because he's so cheap.
Yeah, my plan is to package OBJ and lock it and see what I can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time I get a trade and I get really excited, then I open it up and I go,
excited. I get super nervous. My palms get sweaty and I get flushed. Because I'm not good at telling people no. So when I get a trade that I don't like, I'm like, fuck. now like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, but I'm getting better at it.
If I see the email, the trade like email that comes in, I will not look at the trade in the email. I will go to my team page.
Really?
I'm anal retentive about like I'll write it down to make sure that I've like fully grasped what's happening. And turns out the other day when I traded for Drew Lock and Sonny Michel, the guy after he accepted it was like, "Oh shit, I thought that was a 2021 first." And I was like, first of all, that's insulting. That you think I would give up a 2021 first. But second of all, like I was like texting my other Dynasty buddies, like, this isn't my fault, right? Like he should have read that better. Like that's not on me, right? And, like immediately I wanted to be like, oh, you could do take backsies, but I had to like be strong about it. So I don't ever want to accidentally hit accept or any of that shit. So I'm like really careful about my finger movements.
I will not push anything in an email.
Yes, the fat finger is real.
As is the drunk finger, just so we're clear.
Yeah, but the drunk finger is one that you can't. You don't get an excuse for the drunk finger.
Oh, come on!
No, you eat that trade. You eat that trade and you suck it up.
I'm a firm believer in like drunk drafting and not drunk trading. Like I love to get hammered and be like, this is my guy. I don't give a fuck if it's 20 players ahead of his ADP. Like that's easy for me. But on a trade, like if I get a trade notification, I will wait to open that shit.
Drunk me doesn't have that kind of discipline. Drunk me is like, ooh, a trade. Yeah. I'm gonna send a trade back, and we're gonna do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a learning lesson for me. It was
you put out a recent tweet talking about maybe getting together a little drunk history and then talking about your fantasy teams or your most memorable fantasy teams. I'm in on that. Sign me up.
I want to do it just like drunk history, but with fantasy teams where you come on and you talk about like, for me personally, like my story, if I was invited to a show like that, the year Todd Gurley went fucking off. He had a fantastic year, right? So we're like, I think it was like week 5. I'm like, this dude puts up 20 points a game. I need 6 points from him. It was a Monday night game. I'm like, this is going to be no problem. My buddy that I talked about earlier, the guy that I co-commish with, came over to my house to watch the Monday night football game. I was playing him in that week's fantasy football contest. I needed 6 points from Todd Gurley, and he put up like 4.7. And like my buddy's like, I'm not gonna say, like he just like handed me the pipe to smoke some pot. Like he was like, I'm not gonna say any. Like he was like, I'm not gonna talk shit. I know my place. But I think everybody has that story that got them into fantasy, that year that they drafted the best team or a championship they won or a game that they lost that they like, it like plays in their head, a player they won't draft. And I think it would be really fun, but I got to come up with a fucking name. I got to come up with a name and then I can get started on this. I want everybody to want to come on, and we're not going to talk analytics. I don't give a fuck about numbers.
Because Sober Larry season ends in 1 week.
I heard. Yeah.
1 week, baby.
You're getting real close. How long do you do Sober Larry season?
New Year's Day to St. Patrick's Day.
The entire wow.
Yeah, not too bad. 2.5 months. Good detox the whole body. I'm a train wreck heading into New Year's.
Pulls her truly up to her lips. She's like, no.
Yeah, dude. Now after 30 days, like my body, I feel better now. Roll right through New Year's like a fucking wrecking ball. So it's good. I need to like take a step between summer partying. Then you have football season, which rolls right into the holidays, and it's just like it's perfect. So I'm ready to tear it up next week. We're doing a live show on the 20th with the Angry Sports Couple. So
I love them.
It'll be a special because we don't really do live YouTubes. We usually wait for like a special occasion or whatever. Justin was like, "Yo, because they're good friends of ours. So let's get the Angry Sports Couple on and we'll do a live YouTube." So Saturday, March 20th. Oh baby,
special occasion. Sober Larry season is over.
Hell yeah,
rock and roll.
Yeah, man. Be lots to talk about. Free agency will be pretty much in the books 3 days into it. It's just like that's all the big names.
Actual information. I know. I've got.
I can't wait to talk about new shit.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
I just like to say that Sober Larry season comes right at Super Bowl season, which like I don't know how you do that.
I smoke a lot of weed and
That's-
drink a lot
that's
of Canada Dry seltzers
Canada
and green
Dry,
tea.
yeah.
He's like, me and my chocolate milk, we make it through.
Hey, I will not take chocolate milk slander.
There's no slander.
On the
I fuck with
podcast.
chocolate milk.
I bought a half gallon yesterday morning and it was gone by noon.
Oh,
So-
man.
I'm still a strawberry milk truther, but I do fuck with
No,
chocolate milk.
okay.
I can't have chocolate milk.
No,
in my house.
that was the line. So we better just end it because I clearly
Between strawberry
crossed the
milk-
line there.
The strawberry milk
Strawberry
truther.
milk and Drew Lock. I can't do this anymore.
And add kickers on there. That's just the cherry on top.
Strawberry milk and kickers. So at LindaG, yeah, baby. Fantasysakes.com, right?
No, I want to try that again, Larry. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I thought
Yeah,
Sober Larry
I'm doing my Scottish, British, European accent
Yeah, for fantasy's sake, for sure.
for fantasy's sake. So yeah, you do some writing there. I read a nice article on the kickers today, which was pretty amazing. And then Scott Fish tweeted about a kicker, so I was like, "Hey man, I just read an article about kickers. Amazing, small kicker world, Dynasty Sons, FF Confidential, Fantasy Besties, at Join Our Circle. You got a lot going on. You're the new host of the Speakeasy, which is an awesome podcast. Is there anything else I missed? What else you got hidden back there in your repertoire?
God. The problem is, like I said, I can't say no. So but I'm working on, and I know nobody gives a shit, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. I'm working on some rookie kicker stuff. There are going to be teams that are going to need a new kicker. And so that comes more at the football angle than the fantasy football angle. I'm excited to kind of dive into what I've been working on. You can guarantee my tweets are going to be real nerdy with like a couple drunk thoughts dropped in for the next couple weeks.
Ooh, yes. And don't forget to invite me on your drunken fantasy
Here's
history.
I can't call it drunk fantasy because that implies like some kinky shit. And so I'm working on like
Drunk fantasy. I did. Yeah. It's funny that my mind did not even go there. I was like so far from that until you brought that up. I was like, drunk fantasy.
So I gotta I'm working on that name and logo, but it is something that I hope to have off its feet as the off season gets really into the off season when we have nothing to talk about. I'm like, I know.
Yes.
People will talk about themselves for a while.
FF drunk.
Drunk FF. I love that.
All right. Let's do this, motherfuckers. Thanks for listening to the Dynasty Hot Balls Podcast. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Larry Monkey and Justin Rogers talking Dynasty football, baby.